I was talking to a pastor out here who asserted that he was a prophet. Of course, the same as many of you and others, we have heard this plenty of times. These self-proclaimed individuals who refer to themselves as prophets. I find it amazing of how they can hold a book in their hands they say that they live by divinely, that clearly speaks against their current existence and also implies that they will be false when they arrive and not real by the one who is until this day called the fulfiller. Many are not made aware of how this all operates. And of course your pastor will never tell you, because one day soon, he will come in on a Sunday morning telling you that he is a prophet. And you, like the sweet little, unstudied and unthinking lambs of God, will believe him. I will be brief. It says in Jeremiah, "Before I formed thee in the belly I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations." This clearly implies that a prophet is made ordained within the womb of the woman and not of the world. The term "you" used does not imply having knowledge of someone of the past upon a common understanding. It implies spiritual conception. It means that before the human being was physically manifested, this individual was destined to be a prophet among the nations according to the will of the divine. Nations, which means that this will be a man who will have the ability to speak many different languages in his travels. How many of these men do you know who speak any other outside tongue other than English? These men never refer to themselves as prophets, verbally. They were men of humility, and they were never married men nor had children. Marriage is a distraction for these men as well as an impediment. Study your book, Christians, and see for yourself from the first page to the last of every man who was said to have been verified as a prophet. These men are simply messengers to their own understanding and have an in-department insight into the makeup of the society and have a resolve plan imbued into their minds before they were physically manifested, of knowing that someone will come to resolve all of the current world's problems who is known to them as only the fulfiller. When the fulfiller comes after their deaths and fulfills all of what these men said, only then are they verified as prophets to the people, because of the fulfiller fulfilling what they spoke about. It's not very difficult to understand if most would at least study and meditate for your own protection against people as these deceivers. It's obvious, correct? Jeremiah 6:13, from the least to the greatest, all are greedy for gain. Prophets and priests alike, all practice deceit. Matthew 7:15, that there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. Even denying the Lord that bought them. Did you notice that? They were bought and sold out. They are ordaining themselves as prophets today and denying what is written in Jeremiah, and yet denying that they serve the dark Lord. I find that many begin calling themselves a prophet. As they begin to gain the attention from the blind sheep and become seduced of their own ego and vanity, then their language changes into the prophet. The prophet could be understood in effect as equivalent to the Messiah because of utilizing the definite article, the. It's plain if you listen to these men when they write and speak. 2 Corinthians 11:13, for such people are false apostles, deceitful workers, masquerading as apostles of Christ. The Bible lines all of this up. However, you have the messengers of the Old Testament, then you have the fulfiller coming who they prophesied about, and then you have John the Revelator at the end who reveals the end of times. In all of this coverage according to the Bible, what does these men and women this day have to prophesy about other than lies and deception, as the fulfiller clearly said? I'll wait for your answer. I disassociate myself from anyone who calls themselves a prophet, no matter who they are, even if it's my own father. They are clearly one of the major problems in the human family. 2 Peter 2:16, but was rebuked for his iniquity. The dumbass speaking with man's voice forbade the madness of that false prophet. I would think that if a donkey can recognize the madness of the false prophet, Then what is the problem of some of you human beings? David Anthony Brevoort.